Recognize the gentleman from Colorado, Mr. Lamborn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for having this hearing. I want to thank you, especially General George, for being here, or both of you, actually. But this is your first appearance as Army Chief of Staff. You're a former commander of the storied 4th Infantry Division, headquartered in Fort Carson, Colorado. So welcome here. I'm really concerned because, and we've been talking about drones and counter-drone efforts. Both the ranking member and the chairman have addressed this. And General George, I think we're failing. We do not have a program of record for counter-drone, either laser or directed energy capability. We have no program of record. We're doing some research and development. We've been researching and developing for a long time, but we have no program of record. We're not producing any kind of meaningful capability to put out in the field. When are we going to come to actually having this operational?
Congressman, we do have air defense equipment that is coming online that we have right now. And as I mentioned earlier, I think this is going to be a layered approach. And we're very effectively using Coyote, MLIDs, other systems that are forward. I agree with you that we need to do more and do it quicker. One of the things that I talked about a little bit up front that I do think we need is to have, it's changing very rapidly with drones, is the flexibility to go from R&D to procurement, making sure that we have modular open system architecture and that we are doing things that we can get what's best that's out there. That's how fast it's moving. Right now, it's changing really quickly. A drone that works now with the EW situation changing, we need to rapidly advance with that.
Well, I have to agree. There was a marvelous effort over the weekend to help Israel shoot down the drones and ballistic missiles and everything else from Iran. The only problem with all that is that we had to use very expensive munitions to do so because we don't have the lower cost lasers and high energy capabilities fully deployed yet. That's my concern, is the cost effectiveness of it all. And when it comes to drones, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal on the 10th of April saying that, headline, How American Drones Failed to Turn the Tide in Ukraine. Drones from American startups have been deemed glitchy and expensive, prompting Ukraine to turn to alternatives from China. And this is bad news for the Pentagon, which needs a reliable supply of thousands of small unmanned aircraft. So on the offensive side, when are we going to have good drones that we can use in large numbers in places like CENTCOM?
I'm pretty confident, Congressman, that we have the technology here stateside. I mean, I just was out at National Training Center and saw a UAS. It's the Ghost, and it was modular, very survivable in any EW environment. So I'm confident we can do that. Part of that is what I was mentioning earlier. I think we need to put the demand signal on them. So the world, fundamentally has changed here in the last 6 or 8 months. We were not able to reprogram. This gets back to something that's working. It's in R&D, and you want to buy additional capabilities of it, and because that's what companies are going to respond to. I think that flexibility would help us.
Well, absolutely. I have to agree with you 1,000%. But I don't see that demand signal in the proposed budget. That's my concern. If I can shift gears, you know Fort Carson really well. You know the Pinyon Canyon training site, a premier, a jewel for training for the Army. But there's one problem, and there is that active pipeline that goes through part of that training range. Would you support researching and looking at ways of mitigating the limitations that pipeline puts on training at Pinyon Canyon?
I'd certainly be interested in looking into that, Congressman, and we can follow up with you. I've trained at Pinyon Canyon a whole bunch. It's a great training area. I know our units are still getting after it right down in that training area. So absolutely can look at that and follow up with you.
Thank you. Let's work on that. And I thank you so much. Thank you both for being here. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.